crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Strong Esports trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
Beast Mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Cyber before he's hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. They just to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beaglebus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The fourth one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace. Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back. We are here at CGL, the regular season in the rear view mirror. The playoffs are finally starting here. I am Megalaz. Alongside me is Jace. Jace, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. They pulled me out of the void somewhere, so I'm here to fill for today. Should be a fun one. Glad to be casting some EU Division Overwatch. It's been a while. And yeah, it looks like we're in playoffs, Megalas. So do or die, right? Let's I don't forget what we have first, actually, whether we do lineups or it's just a flat look at the graphic. But yeah, let's have a look at both of these rosters first, because I believe one of them is heavy favourites coming into today's game.
Yes, indeed. Here in the EU Masters tier, we have Brigged Up going up against Dragons of Gravity here. Brigged Up, our regular season sort of champions, if you will, that sitting at the top in that number 1 seed. You got Mikey Shadowy on that DPS line, Hamble Sauce on tank, and then Horseboy and Vincino on support here at this roster. Again, they're sitting at the number 1 seed. They have, 1 loss on the board though, so not completely infallible, but certainly going to be a team to go up against here for the other side of Dragon's Gravity.
Yeah, definitely heavy favourites coming in for a reason. Most of the time, the regular season success always does translate at least up until a top 4 finish. But we look at Dragon's Gravity here. Yuna Nakano is their backline. Petite Weed, not a bad name actually. And then Milton and Lachana Red as their DPS. I'm seeing a lot of Lucio Kiri in terms of the favourite heroes. So the backline from Hell, the backline that has existed for all of Overwatch 2's eternity and forever longer. I think we'll just be seeing probably more of that today. I love Lucio Kiri. Smile.
Yeah, hey, listen, Lucio Kiri, it's a backline of all time for sure here, but you could argue there was by legal definition a nerf to Kiriko in the mid-season patch on Tuesday. So maybe that could play a factor into these supports taking just a little bit longer to build up these Kitsune rushes here. But of course, we could also, take other ways to get rid of these backlines and maybe play something else here. But of course, we have to see where our series is going to start off before anything else here. And it seems as though our first map is going to be Lijiang Tower, Jace. I mean, this is the classic, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I had a singular US dollar, a singular euro, or a singular Great British pound for every time I've casted Lijiang Tower as an opening map, I would probably have an offshore account and the government would hate me. The Green Party would definitely be after my ass. It's an absolute classic. Most importantly, what it allows is I think it allows Dragon's Gravity to not opt in to a meta, to not opt into the accepted sort of meta tactic for this division. If you're going in as heavy underdogs, right, with Brigged Up's far superior regular season record, you get to do something a bit different. Maybe pull out a Moira, maybe we pull out a Pharah, maybe we try a Symmetra strategy, all of which are viable on this map, and just a little bit different from what Brigged Up have probably been playing against all their regular season.
Yeah, and I love how you bring into, the conversation, that meta discussion, right? Because, we are down in Masters, right? We're not at the cream of the crop just yet, like the open tier or anything like that. So you have a little bit more wiggle room, a little bit more flexibility. You're not locked into these hard, hey, you have to play this comp. If you've got a specialist who can really rock out on a hero, absolutely let them go crazy, see what they can achieve here. The only thing that really could limit them would potentially be the hero bans, right? Being able to take heroes out of the equation. Yeah. It's been a factor for a while now. Oh, and it's been very interesting to see what teams have been cooking up with the bans.
Absolutely, and I think bans, I will always mention this on a broadcast, bans are excellent for honestly either side. If you're better and more flexible, then it allows you to really get an edge over your opponents. One thing I will always say coming in is how hard can you mess with the enemy team's muscle memory? D.Va, good ban. It means that Dragon's Gravity are now unable to ban a tank themselves, and obviously it allows their hit stand a lot more free. Realistically, D.Va is actually a monster this patch. A lot of people hold the opinion, like I do myself, that Zarya is really the only thing keeping D.Va at bay, keeping her in check. The minute that our favorite Russian weightlifter goes, Megalas, I think we're in the land of the flying South Korean.
Exactly. So it's almost like a double-edged ban there with the D.Va. Almost sort of takes the Zarya out of play as well, where you don't need to bring it out. So we could see some more traditional options, especially with Dragon's Gravity going for the Tracer ban right away. That's definitely going to be targeted at one of these DPS players. You don't want somebody just going crazy on the backline to start out the match here. So overall, I think these are very stable, standard bans that are going to get us into this series. The question is, what comps do you cook up around this?
So Tracer being off means that you'll have a bit more potential presence to play greedier backline. Tracer down, Juno Brig could potentially come into play, because obviously I think Juno gets absolutely eaten by Tracer, even with a Brig there. Most of the time myself, if I'm looking at a Tracer ban, I would be thinking taking it away on like an Escort. But maybe Dragon's Gravity feel that they don't have the luxury of taking that away. They say, okay, this is a really good map for Tracer. It's cyclical in nature. Is Lijiang Tower, so any opportunity to get rid of backline access will just keep our supports alive. And if your supports are alive, your tank is alive, which means they get more resources and you're able to play a greedier backline. D.Va gone would probably think towards maybe like a Winston or some hit stands coming in for the side of Brigged Up, or they're just trying to protect something by banning D.Va as a tank themselves.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the dive options, you're looking towards that Winston. A lot of Wrecking Ball been played recently as well, with the casual community making the calls and sirens to nerf ball. I promise, doesn't really need a nerf. You might just need a skill check on that one. But also, it opens up a ton of brawl options, right? We are on Lijiang Tower, especially Control Center has always been one of the brawlier submaps in the entire game here. A lot of teams have been trying to, figure out which brawl tank is good after it feels like we slug through a bunch of metas of rush tanks. We all of a sudden lost all of them at once. So it sort of created this interesting section where maybe people are just longing to return to the brawl.
Absolutely. Hazard being gutted is going to affect as well. I think a lot of tank players have sort of been locked into that Hazard role, as we've seen with like main supports being on Lucio and flex supports being on Kiri. One thing I will say as well is on this Lucio Kiri debate, obviously it's available for both teams. This first map is going to be Control Center, so definitely, more Reinhardt, more Ramattra in particular, that is a little bit stronger this patch with those buffs. Lucio Kiri, I think, this is sort of the level in terms of Masters where I'd say a lot of teams really play around Lucio Kiri and start to play on those off angles. But for now, I think it's just going to be a straight 5v5 smash. Sojourn versus Reaper, but we've got Ryan versus Ramattra. It's a big advantage for Brigged Up early here in this neutral.
Definitely here, as they're already trying to go in. However, if that Venture can sync up like you're seeing, it can be a little bit of a boon for Dragon's Gravity. But with Petite Weed already down here, the Ramattra running forward, swinging those fists of fury. Everybody else is going to be running for the hills here, as it seems as though Brigged Up will get the first cap.
So Ramattra gets a really good open here. Ham from Brigged Up just gets to free walk. Why? Because they don't shoot the Ramattra. Dragon's Gravity put 0 poke on the man with 4 arms, the Omnic with 4 arms, and he gets to walk up. The Reinhardt, on the other hand, has their shield up and is still actively taking damage. So they win the tank trade, the tank falls, and when you're down your tank in the opening neutral on the Zhang Tower, you are just touched.
Absolutely cooked here, but already, again, they're down a hit scan player here as Mikey was able to find one, make it 2 here as the BAP's keeping everybody alive in this fight. Nice and healthy here as, again, Dragon's Gravity just simply being pushed back to their own spawn doors as the Cassidy almost gets a 5k, stolen by Horseboy at the end.
Yeah, seeing the power of Cassidy on this patch, right? Again, Dragon's Gravity have to run through all of the damage from Brigged Up. It's all one way north and when needed. And then the Cassidy is just, it's so much good damage. Like, call it burst damage, call it like poke damage, whatever you want. It's just consistent bullets over time. And I said the minute the tank again gets forced out. Speaking of,
Yeah, beautiful wall on to him there now, just trying to keep everybody nice and healthy with the immortality field already expended. The Deadeye having to be a zoning tool here. It does not seem to be occurring much, so now we are still just watching the heals try to come through. Already down one member, though, is Brigged Up, trying to keep this Ramatra alive. Those arms crossed and an Amp Matrix, but that's not going to really help you when you have a Ramatra in your face. Petite Weed ends up going down, but they are traded out here, and the trades are still going back and forth, but Dragon's Gravity have finally got any cap onto the point here. Still looking for a reflip, though, is the side of Brigged Up. This fight is not over yet. It seems like Shadowy is right there to clean it up.
Okay, Shadowy proving the power of Reaper on the objective. Gravity get away a little bit. They get some small capture on the point, and they've got 2 big ultimates in the backline, and also the Mei coming up as well. That Blizzard is going to be good. Fantastic wall, actually. Lax has done some good impacts in swapping to the Mei.
Yeah, and so now everybody's going to be spamming these ultimates out, sound barriers out for both teams, trying to help everybody live. The Blizzard is going to freeze up onto Ham, though, so it is going to be Petite Weed who's able to get value with this annihilation. Now, Ham taken down out of the fight here. Shadowy, again, trying to turn the tides here, but much harder to do this time, but it might actually be possible. The Reaper's already down, too, in the fight. Going to throw out the Blossom to get the
Shadowy, I got the ball.
And that's just going to be the end of the round here for Brigged Up as Shadowy clutches up.
Yeah, huge. Got the Reaper, the special Reaper skin, right? Got the Interact, got the Galactic guns as well. This guy's a Reaper player, and you can clearly see it. Really good timing. Gravity want to walk, they have to walk on this Baptiste because they're going to lose the sustain wall. They want to try and force that lamp early, but it's just the small attention diversion, attention being the biggest resource in this comp. Both teams trying to smash into each other front to back. But as Dragon's Gravity initiate that front, they try and go to the back. That's when Shadowy comes in on the side angle. It's not quite Reaper Friday, but, you know, that character, it's my favorite, and it's pretty good when you go in from the side. And Shadowy quite literally proved it just then.
Absolutely impressive to see here, but now heading into the next round, Brigged Up a little bit of a swap on the cards here. The Wrecking Ball in play, as well as some Sombra action here, so it's going to be more of a dive setup jumping on to this backline here. Meanwhile, Dragon's Gravity still on the tried and true. They just want to see who they can walk down realistically, but it's going to be hard to find a wall onto any target in this composition here, as we are just in an extended poke phase right now, waiting for something to happen. Petite Weed trying to run forward here, but that Suzu means everybody's going to escape nice and healthy. Meanwhile, a trade occurred in the backline here. Lucio for Sombra, but now with the other support missing, Dragon's Gravity's health bars are looking worse for wear. They're just going to be poked out here as Brigged Up will get the first cap.
Yeah, so I don't mind this comp too much from Dragon's Gravity. It's really dangerous, right? Because you kind of want to walk on someone, but if you walk badly, then you just pass straight into the hit line of Brigged Up. I think the Lucio died actually early there and then came back and died again, unless it was Vincio that got picked off first. When you lose your Lucio...
Look at Mikey's ult charge right now.
Wait a minute. Wait, yeah, you're right. How does he have OC? Wait a minute. Thanks for cutting me off, because I did not notice that. I was just about to set up a fight about, oh, you can be passive, you kind of don't have to do anything, ball composition can't force point. But, you know, I screw all of that. Mikey has OC. Brother, how do you have OC? It's been 20%. Like, bro.
It might not even need it, though, with a beautiful rail already connecting here. I was going to say, you can definitely catch people off guard, which is having the OC already available here. Now you're seeing the Sounding Retreat trying to come out here, but unfortunately you're only retreating into death with the ball and Sombra ready to go here. That's just going to be another quick cleanup fight.
And we didn't use OC. We have OC in world record time. They didn't even need to use it. Luckily, Yuna's going to have a window. They might be able to try and catch Mikey on an ego swing here. Quickly back to what I was saying. Now they've got Sim, they have to go point with it. I actually would have kept the Mei. I think Mei's not bad because you can wall off the Sojourn, but on this map, oh my god, it's a...
Yeah, absolutely massive here. Already 4, though. It is going to finally result in Mikey going down here, but just the Ramatra left standing. I mean, Brigged up, looking confident and in control right now.
Yeah, this is why I wanted the May, right? You can wall off the sim, you can wall off your own TP, and then you get safe entry access to the point. And the last thing you want to be doing is walking through that empowered disruptor shot against Mikey with OC, with Railgun charge as well that you've taken pre-fight in terms of poke. Now the ball has mines as well. It's the same strategy for Gravity. They just need to keep forcing objective, but Brigged Up have so many resources to deny them.
So many resources here, but Dragon's Gravity trying to punch in with their amplification matrix, now going to have to expend the sound barrier to get themselves through the minefield here, and they are able to do just that, but still this Wrecking Ball being a bit of a menace on the point here, but it seems as though Dragon's Gravity have found a solution, at least for this fight, to get the ball out of their back line.
Yeah, they get a great 2 picks. Horseboy and Vincio just fall over, completely collapse, lack of oxygen, they just die instantly. It's an instant decease, and then they get control of the objective, of which the ball cannot fight. Once that minefield goes, it's not an issue.
Oh, but the Ramatra already missing from this fight. Things are going from bad to worse here, and now Brigged Up just already back in with this fast-paced composition, meeting everybody at the doors here. It's going to be very difficult for Dragon's Gravity to sort of keep this contest going as long as they can. Sano is trying to give their best chance, but yeah, it's over.
Excellent recontest from Brigged Up, though. Like, they lose their backline early, they get it to 99, and they just walk back in with Kitsune Rush, Puppet main. Gravity are left sort of, well, they've been affected by Gravity. They are locked down. They are absolutely stuck in place. They can't move compared to this more, way more flexible, way more durable, and way more mobile dive composition with the ball, with the Sojourn. Just way more control over lanes. Everything that you would want, right? So they get stuck in a position, and they just sort of get caught on the end of a Kiri rush, and that's a stat check, and that's the fight, and that's 2-0, and that's 1-0. Numbers, you're welcome.
Numbers, you're welcome, India. But again, you know, it was just a very sort of quick, like, sort of blink and you miss it sort of situation going on there. From Brigged Up, but like you highlighted, right, they just sort of, especially on that ball comp, were able to set up their pincers, play an incredibly fast tempo that was just a little too aggressive for Dragon's Gravity to adapt to here. So, you know, looking forward, if you are Dragon's Gravity, what are some of the changes that you would want to make to try to adapt and deal with this?
So I'm not sure. I actually think they had a decent amount of success in the Brawl Mirror, but I'm not sure how that ball versus Ramatra style composition matchup goes if you don't pick the right map for it. Any team that is confident with their Wrecking Ball gameplay, that's always one that you consider going to a predominant ball map and then banning ball, right? Because we've all been there before. But of course, I don't think you get map pick and first ban in CGL, I believe. So I think Dragon's Gravity have a choice, right? Just we'll go through that before I potentially think about their options. So if you pick a good ball map, Brigged Up are just going to protect ban a tank so that you can't ban ball, and then you've picked a good ball map into a ball comp, and you just kind of got a little bit obliviated by a ball comp. Yeah,
and unfortunately, sometimes you know, like you said, sometimes you do get obliterated here, but you know, there are plenty of options here, right? We go through in CGL, think about everything in the options manual here, right? You get you get to pick the map type as well as what map specifically we are going to, as well as you get first ban for the losing side. So tons of advantage, tons of things to work with here. But the magical voice in our heads has decreed where we are heading, and believe it or not, Jace, it's another El Clasico.
We love it. Is it Kings Row? It is Kings Row. There we go. It is just like the map pool. I mean, to be fair, everyone scrims Lijiang, everyone scrims Kings Row, right? So if you've been scrimming as a team for the last couple of weeks of the regular season, you know, leading into playoffs, it's going to help. Let's hope we have a couple of strategies here. The May worked, for one thing. I actually do like the May. A lot of comps, particularly when a Sojourn is getting an immense amount of value on the off angle. Yes, obviously you can't permanently wall them off. But even that fight where Mikey kills 4 with the OC, you can just wall it before you take the TP. You have a free pass, you have a free entrance. I think a lot of times the flex DPS will try and play with the wall too greedily to wall off their tank. But actually, if you just wall off their only source of damage, which is the Sojourn, then what are they going to do to kill you? You're going to get a point for free, and once you're on point for free, how do they beat you? The answer most of the time is that they don't.
It's the unfortunate answer, but yeah, sometimes the answer simply is just you don't hear. But we do have bans coming up here. And it seems as though
Reaper.
the Reaper was just a little too much. I mean, interesting sort of way to go with the ban. But again, you know, sometimes you just don't want to deal with the Reaper anymore. So absolutely take that one out of the pocket.
Kiri gone to real quick on the Reaper before we talk about the Kiri, because I think the Kiri is a good ban as well. Brigged Up will allow them to play stuff like Anna, allow them to play Baptiste and not worry about that Kitsune Rush and that Suzu. A lot of tanks in Masters Elo, I myself, if you don't have a Reaper player, it can be really difficult to play versus enemy tank and a Reaper when your team doesn't have one. You have to cede a lot of space. The Reaper can just TP on you for free. If there's a Zarya in the lobby, then they can get a bubble as well. And as I said, a lot of tanks can really struggle when they have to play 2v1 because of the pressure that the Reaper can get. They'll just walk on you as a tank, and then they're almost like a secondary tank, they're almost an off tank, buying space, holding space for their own tank whilst their cooldowns are offline. So I understand that. Plus, Shadowy was just getting so much good value, actively walking into the back line as well. So I like that ban for Dragon's Gravity. For Brigged Up, probably assuming they try and look for like an Ana comp here. Or again, just trying to mess with the muscle memory, taking away the Kiriko from a predominantly like Kiriko player.
Yeah, and it's interesting that it is sort of Kiriko because, you know, we saw on that first map that we could be leaning towards at least more brawl for the side of Dragon's Gravity here, but, you know, really was having a tough time with being the one that was getting run down, whereas, you know, Dragon's Gravity wasn't able to really replicate that success in terms of the Baptiste mirror. So potentially they're going to try to put more focus onto Horseboy, assuming Horseboy will be back onto that Baptiste. But, I mean, give yourself something you can at least run down instead of a Kiri, which you're just never going to catch.
Yeah, and the Kiri from Gravity was actually the one getting picked more so than the Baptiste, which meant that Gravity just didn't have any safe teleportation angles, no safe TP targets for the Kiri. So this might work in their favor as well. Yuna, is that a Final Fantasy character? I think it is. I'm not sure. Anyway, what do you think of this this composition that we get from Brigged Up here on the death as we see them roll out?
I mean, Brigged Up, they're certainly. I feel like there was potentially a chat message typed out for a gentleman's agreement of the Reinhardt character, because obviously Ramatra does just clear Reinhardt in every single metric here, so we'll have to see if both teams are going to remain honorable here on King's Row. But very interesting to see what strategies sort of evolve around it. It seems as though some teleports are going to be the name of the game here, as Mikey just having to slide and flip the map here. And now we're just, again, in a bit of a poke phase. Both teams are just waiting for their moment.
He's going to get a lot of ult charge from it, 27%, and going to get a lot of railgun charge. But they clear him off the high ground, which is sort of the one pain point for this Dragon's comp here. With that Reinhardt, of course, you're going to lose to the offhand, and of course, you're going to lose to the Sojourn poke. It's on this Freya of Amelia not to get taken down by the Sojourn, who is on low ground. But looks like the map has been kind of flipped, so good start.
Yeah, it has certainly been flipped here, and now a trade comes through. You're seeing Mikey trying to get some shots in, but having to play just so far out of range here that the rest of Dragon's Gravity can make quick work of the rest of the team around Mikey here. So now the Sojourn just caught in a bit of an awkward position. Anybody who's going to be respawning is going to be behind you in a moment here, so you just have to head to point and sacrifice your life. And it seems as though Dragon's Gravity should be able to unlock this point, unless Shadowy's going to go crazy again already too. Finally taken down by the hammer. And yeah, that'll get the payload moving, but that was a little too close to call.
Almost right. Good work from Dragon's Gravity, though. So many teams I see in this level don't realize that the fight is won, and they can just chill on the objective. What is the Sojourn going to do when they have to touch objective? Nothing. The Reinhardt isn't there to contest, so your Sojourn is just actively playing for picks. Don't peek it, stable. Hide behind your Reinhardt shield if you need to as well. Once you've killed the Reinhardt, once you've forced out the Sojourn, and you're on the objective free capping, that's fight won. Don't overplay. Luckily, Dragon's Gravity don't. They anchor point really well there. They get themselves a quick, well-earned first tap.
Exactly. So now we're already on to the later part of Streets phase here, and not able to use that amplification matrix. Everybody's having to back up and run away in fear here. Massive block on the Shattered. It's going to be reciprocated in kind here. So neither Reinhardt going to be putting anybody to the ground. Now it's just, again, a bit of a waiting game. Both teams waiting to see who's going to engage on the cart and with what tools here. You're seeing the Freya Bolo come out, get low HP onto the Rhine, but amazing Blizzard. Zones everybody out on the cart, freezes up some targets. It even forces the sound barrier to boot here, which seems like it was definitely something that could have been kept in the back pocket.
Yeah, I think Dragon's Gravity panic a little bit here. They have both their DPS frozen. They walked forward in terms of the Blizzard. I think they were a little bit over eager in the swing because Petite Weed, Yuna, and Nakano, they were back. They actually were the other side of the Blizzard. They were the left-hand side. Both their DPS frozen on that right-hand side. So a little bit of miscoordination. Nakano tries to save the play. And honestly, with 3.5 minutes left, I think Blizzard is fine. Just, as Cobalt would say, -1, put your losses and leave.
Yeah. And now we're seeing Mikey be hunted. Oh my goodness, this Sojourn attention is absolutely handed here in spades. Mikey's still running for the hills, having to be protected by the rest of the team, expending every resource and giving up so much space as well. Dragon's Gravity finally realized they can just go back to the cart here and play these corners once again. Both Reinhardts have the Shatter, and Petite Weed's going to connect, taking out the opposition here. It is still technically even, though it actually, Brigged Up is now up 1 in this fight. They commit both support ultimates to try to punish Petite Weed for going a little bit too far here and still down 1 member, make it 2. It means that the M Matrix is actually going to come out in response here, so that way this payload can still keep moving from Dragon's Gravity, but this fight is just all over the place.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the EU Classic, which is the 4-man Shatter into the fight lose, but it's kind of a fight neutral, which means now they get to go again, but it forces both support ultimates. That's a high value Shatter from Petite Weed, and now Brigged Up, they don't have anything in the back pocket from their back line to play with. It should give them an advantage. Let's see what we can do here with this Freya ultimate. It's not the best one in the world, but if you're on the angle, it's definitely going to force a support cooldown or 2.
Oh, but a massive Shatter on the other side. Ham takes down 4, and it actually results in the fight win this time. Absolutely massive Shatter.
That was a humongous from Humble. One good slam deserves the other. And I did not think they were going to swing that quickly. My bad. I kind of screw over my play-by-play caster there by not throwing it early enough. My bad. But what a huge slam from Humble, by the way. Like, is shield break or what? Anyway, TP play on the next fight. I like that they're going high ground here.
Like that they're going high ground indeed, and they're trying to catch somebody with that Bolo. Some good shots into the Lucio here, but already members are missing the OC. Going to be the cherry on top of the cake for this fight here, and Brigged Up are going to continue to hold the Streets phase.
Yeah. Again, I think there was a little bit of a lack of plan after walking out from that high ground. We get the high ground, we TP out, but then we just can't quite find a target. Mikey, again, using the full resource, the full distance of that Sojourn slide to zip away to safety and then just pop the OC. No one behind the Reinhardt shield. If you're not behind it, you're just a free kill for the OC, and absolutely they were overclocked. Yeah, and so now a massive freeze here, going to be catching on to the members it needs to, at the very least. Petite Weed here, that Symmetra is not going to be long for this world, finally catching some icicles to the face here. And Dragon's Gravity, who capped with plenty of time in the bank, now find themselves up against it as they just slip under a minute. You see how quickly the support ultimates can get rotated in, right? Like, they're both available now. The Blizzard comes in, and all you need to do with the Blizzard is just freeze the Reinhardt and then wall off the Lamb, wall off the healing. That is an easy target, particularly when you've got a Sojourn and a Baptiste. They can burst them down so quick. Vincio playing with fire a bit here. Not playing with fire, he jumped into the fire. You're dead.
Yeah, and exactly, it happened just like that. Click and you're dead here. So now it's just going to be a little bit of a stall tactic from Shadowy here to sit on cart as long as possible. This will buy time for another fight here before the end of point B. The question is, does Brigged Up want to commit without their full team?
I think they definitely can. Losing the Lucio, he should get back in decent time. Unfortunately, Brigged Up just lose the fight because that Lucio gets like a really bad case of the ADHD. I have to do something. We've all been there, buddy. Absolutely, I have. I still do. But Dragon's Gravity, they've got resources. Sound barrier, it's going to be a lot. Oh no.
Oh, but it doesn't matter when everybody's caught by the shatter here. It's going to put everybody on the ground. Petit Wee was so low HP, just had to hide. And now that should spell the end here. It's going to be Dragon's Gravity just shy of finishing point B on King's Row.
Yeah, really nice recontest from Brigged Up. I think they take good advantage of the indecision from Dragon's Gravity. I was actually waiting to throw that call there, Megalith. I was waiting for them to beat and then just sort of bomb in, like after the window had gone. But it turns out Humble just hits a 4-man slab. All of them on the same pixel behind the Reinhardt shield. Again, it gets broken by the mass amount of damage that Shadowy and Mikey are able to put on it. Look at the damage difference numbers, by the way. Humongous. 2 8k damage, like almost 9k, compared to we've got 6.9, 6.2. So just way more damage going onto the side of Dragon's Gravity that is not being healed. I mean, Yuna's done 12k. You know, they're trying their best out there, but sometimes it's just more ultimate charge for the enemy team, you know. That's the hard life of support.
Yeah, that is sort of the trick of support. Granted, you know, the caveat that with that 12k healing is that there's 3k coming out from your other support here, so, you know, it's a bit of a give and take. Like, yeah, I guess I'll heal everybody up so you can just go in and do as you please here. Dragon's Gravity going to be on the standard brawl comp here, but Brigged Up, I mean, they have time in the spawn room. But this composition, Jace, this composition.
It's super min-max, right? You're going to bubble the Widowmaker and damage boost it so you can try and get a pick. Is Violet on Yuna's account right now? Let's see it. Nice, we've controlled the ADHD. I love that. Shout out. Big from them. And then they just get the free scout and counter swap.
Yeah, nobody in this situation got money here. But yeah, Brigged Up, you know, honestly, a little bit of a cowardly play, not keeping with the Reinhardt, going for the Ramatra. Like, listen, I get the point is to win, but come on. You gotta honor it. It's King's Row or something. Meanwhile, Mikey's already going to get the first pick in this fight. What's new here? Going to send the rest of Brigged Up surging forward off the back of that Lucio speed boost, as there is just a slow cap on the point as they find the rest of the stragglers in this fight.
Yeah, if there's a bad way to win, this is it. Counter swapping to the Ramatra and the Freya. You were winning on the Rhine main. You were winning on some honest Overwatch. I don't tell Doors that because they absolutely hate the Rhine May in 2025. But this is inherently less honest, very dishonest, very unethical Overwatch. This is the Joel Embiid of Overwatch right now. Very unethical hoops.
Yeah. And so now we are already trying to fight back onto the point, but you didn't make it in time here. So using that bit that point there just to sort of get the immortality built out for both sides. Everybody trying to live as long as they can as the payload gets rolling here. And again, we're just in a bit of a poke phase. Both teams looking for their opportunity. Ultimates closing in for both sides here. It's going to be interesting. You're seeing the Ramatra walk forward here. Ham now just going to be throwing those fists out with the help of an amplification matrix. And he's going to be traded out thanks to the Blizzard here. So both teams missing a tank is now also going to force the cryo from Lax here. Just trying to keep nice and healthy in this fight. But still a 4v4 can get interesting here. Bolo doesn't connect onto the Lucio in the end here. But they are able to take out the Mei here. So Brigged Up is going to keep the payload rolling.
Yeah, Lax just gets caught on the corner. The rest of the team leave, and then once the bowler comes in, as you said, it scares the Lucio away, and then we just leave the Mei on the island, unfortunately. And a couple of taps. Is that Dead Baptiste? Or the lamp saves them. Oh my. Mikey's so good on this Freya, this map, by the way. So good.
Yeah, absolutely incredible here. As there's just more and more happening. You have that Amp Matrix come out for Dragon's Gravity. 2 mixed results here, able to get 1 pick, but unfortunately, Dragon's Gravity is shorthanded on members as this payload is continuing to go forward here. Now, the Reinhardt walled off, having to back up to the rest of the team here, knowing a Blizzard is imminent from Shadowy as well. It's going to get very, very dicey for the rest of Dragon's Gravity. The Blizzard now thrown out, trying to see who can get frozen up onto. It's going to be the Reinhardt, the sound barrier there. It might be there in time to actually keep Petit Wee nice and healthy. It seems as though that is the case now with the Earth Shatter looming. Can it connect onto anybody to get Dragon's Gravity back into this fight before the Ramatra goes crazy in the backline, trying to find one, gets one onto Narco, is going to be shattered up and slapped onto the ground here. Unfortunately, the immortality field misplaced at the wrong spot, but Mikey's going to help clean it up. Low HP targets galore for the Freya to farm, and it seems as though it's just an inevitability here for Brigged Up to take King's Row.
Brigged Up just do so well in terms of forcing every cooldown. The mate ult that came in from Lax, and I actually think, quick shout out, and whilst Brigged Up do put themselves on series point, quick shout out to Lax from the side of Dragon's Gravity, because they really tried in that last fight. Excellent wall to deny the Blizzard, couldn't quite build theirs in time, survived the onslaught, basically with solo tanking the aggression from 3 people. But they just ran out of cooldowns. Even when the Earth Shatter comes in onto the Ramatra form, it's still going. And that buys space for Mikey to hit a couple of shots on Freya. Those bolts connected and they hurt so much. That was just the map, particularly through the window as well. I think a right click Freya bolt through a Baptiste window is like, what, 240?
Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting to say the least here. With everything, you know, don't mind your screens. Everything will function again in a second. Just trust. But
We're still live.
yeah, no. Everything's fine. It's just, you know, sometimes you just gotta click a button, and you know it's fun to click buttons. But Brigged Up, yeah, like you were saying, just absolutely in control there, and they now find themselves up 2-0 versus Dragon's Gravity here. Dragon's Gravity, lower bracket looming. They don't want to go just yet here, so we will go ahead and throw it to a quick little break to give Dragon's Gravity a chance to think about what they want to do here in what could be the last map of the series. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Lots of love. Love.
XYBA, hire them today. Headrummer said if I said that, he'll give me a whole shiny penny. So, you know,
Real.
we'll see how that works out. But welcome on back here. Hopefully you got yourself a little drink, a little snack, if you will, in case you missed it. We're here in EU Masters, Brigged up currently 2-0 over Dragons Gravity. Going into this, probably the most expected result here, but Dragons Gravity, Jace, they're not taking it lightly. They have certainly had some shining moments here.
They definitely had some, and you can sort of see the difference between both sides, right? Ultimately, when it gets to these key fights, the execution, rotation of ults from Brigged up is just like way, way better, I think. But what I like from Dragon's Gravity is the intent on a lot of these plays, and even some of the fights where they're down ultimates and they get into a spot where if they're just able to stable and find the right target, they can win. So whilst it is 2-0 and it's been some very strong fights from Brigged up so far, you are playing against like the top seed from the regular season, and you're competing. It's not just a wash. You know, there wasn't like a 5-minute King's Row map, right, where you attack first, get full held, and then you go again. I love that they tried the sim rotation. I love that they tried the Freya, because so many teams in that position just won't try anything, and they'll just go out and lose. They'll just be like, let's lose in peace and let's go and focus on the lower bracket. I love that you're trying stuff, because this is things you can practice in game situations and take with you, regardless of results, into the lower bracket, and you can surprise teams there when realistically that lower bracket is obviously do or die. So it's really valuable, genuinely.
Absolutely, and it's great to see that, you know, you still have that passion, that drive, that you're, you know, adapting. You're not just taking it out of here. But as we are looking forward in the series here, I actually don't believe we have map pick yet. Maybe we do. I don't know. Oh, well, there we go. See, the magical voice in our head just didn't inform us yet, but it has officially come through, and it's actually one of my favorite maps in the game. Atlas is going to be where we're going. We're heading on to Flashpoint.
Flashpoint, good mode. If you disagree, you're probably in like Diamond or Plat, because like Flashpoint is never voted for in those competitive elos and ranked. They release the stats. Our newer one, again, I would just look, if you're Dragon's Gravity, to do something that Brigged up haven't played against. This is a new map, so I imagine they've not got the most scrim time on it. Not really new, but you know what I mean. So let's go to the ban phase. I think it's going to be Brigged up, obviously, again, first ban. So let's see. They can't ban Diva and they can't ban Kiri. What else are they going to take out of the pool? Any guesses, Megalas?
I mean, there's certainly options on the board here, and it most likely should be the Symmetra, right? I mean, that's really the thing that sort of caught them off guard. But it's Brigged up banning the ball? Question mark? Are we? Can I get confirmation that's correct? That was Brigged up that banned that.
I will. Yeah.
Okay. Apparently it is. So the team that was playing Wrecking Ball banned ball. I'm not really sure why, but okay. Meanwhile, Dragon's Gravity is going to take out the... I don't know what we're about to see. I don't know what we're about to see. My hands are up.
Juno Brig, maybe? I don't know. The ball ban, when they were the only team to show ball, is definitely suspicious, but maybe they're just protecting and they're like, we're not going to play ball on this point anyway. Lucio ban, definitely something that Dragon's Gravity haven't looked the most comfortable on and with. And I'm like about to sneeze, so this is going to go horribly. But yeah, I'll throw it back. I'm interested to see. I have no idea. We could be on Hog. We could be playing like Winston. We could be playing Doomfist. We could be on Zarya. Like, I have no idea. But it's series on the line for Dragon's Gravity, right? Lose, and it's 3-0, and you're down to lower bracket. Rigged up. Clearly confident enough in their other compositions, their Ramatra, their Reinhardt, their Diva, that they feel that Wrecking Ball is not something they need to reach into their bag for on Atlas.
Yeah, and again, you know, I'm still just baffled by the bans. I'm still just like, it seems as though both teams have just decided to stab themselves with the bans. I'm gonna yell at my producer. I'm gonna yell really loud at my producer, because the mystifying that we just got corrected in our ears. Like, yeah, it actually was the other way around. That it was Dragon's Gravity banning the Wrecking Ball, which makes sense, and then Brigged up banning the Lucio, which makes sense.
I can still see it for both sides, but obviously if Brigged up like are a hard, like they will play ball on pretty much any map they can, compared to Dragon's Gravity who never play it. It definitely makes sense. This is a good ball map, and it's sort of good for them to remember. Flashpoint is often really good with Wrecking Ball because of the distance of the map, the area, and the point is just short enough that you don't really need to anchor objectives that hard as a tank, because you win like a fight and you're already at like 85%. So that's all that you need.
Yeah, exactly. It's all you need. But yeah, as we are just waiting to get into the map here, we're waiting for the teams to sort of become, ready and things like that. I'm just gonna be so baffled. I think my best guess as to what's about to happen is both teams are going to attempt to start on some variant of dive, whether it's Diva or Winston, and then I think we're just ultimately going to end in a Zarya mirror. And that's going to be either fun or misery, depending on which team you are.
I think so. Let's see if the Zarya is in the back. The Lucio is definitely one that, again, Vincio has been running it quite heavily. So taking that away, Brigged Up, one of the many teams that I've seen able to utilize Lucio, and you can be way more passive on Lucio than people realize. I've not been seeing some hard lane splits, right? But we've played Lijiang Tower into King's Row, so we've just kind of have front to back into front to back. We've had the classic, let's all just 5-man barrel down lane and take an angle, a slight off angle at like a moment. But now the map is going to get bigger, it's going to get open. No Soravasa picked. So that's interesting. So does that mean that Lucio was banned? This is still the map pick of Dragon's Gravity, and they went to Atlantis and left ball open, right? Yeah, I'm just wrapping my head around if the ball was actually not banned first, because give me a second. Hang on. Long day at work. Give me a
so
second.
Dragon's Gravity still banned first, and they banned Wrecking Ball. And then the Lucio ban from Brigged Up came after as the second ban, because Dragon's Gravity, as the losers of the previous map, get map pick and first ban.
And map ban, okay. My bad. So anything I've been talking about protect bans then is false, because I forgot that it was, you can ban first and then. Some tournaments do the other way around. Nonetheless,
some do indeed, but you have Shadowy back on the Reaper guy, free from the prison cell here, so hopefully with the help of the Mauga, these engages can be quick and brutal, as you're seeing already. The slam in, gonna put the Ramatra on his back here. Petite Weed just gonna cross those arms, try to live as long as possible here, and unfortunately that Nemesis form is going to expire eventually here, so that's gonna allow Hamba to walk forward here, now realizing maybe a little bit too far, already has the space towards the objective needed here, and it's going to now be a re-engage now that the Nemesis form is back up. It's going to find it onto Vincino. Already missing one in the fight here, but Petite Weed so incredibly low is going to be punished for this overextension. Shadowy has been dealt with though, so despite the first cap going Brigged Up's way, it seems as though Dragon's Gravity is actually going to win this initial fight.
Sometimes it's good to just almost you almost sacrifice your tank, right? Like you get so much space that with the Freya and the Venture, two of the newer DPS in the game, just able to, one does so much damage and the other one can confirm kills and get onto the backline quite easily. That's a lot of burst damage if you're able to sync up a dig up or a drill dash with that that bolt. And Amelia's got to be hitting so many, because Shadowy, if they're not bolted, if Humble isn't bolted, they're just going to do this.
Exactly, and so now you're just seeing again sort of what happens when a Mauga has no fear in the world right now, and again it's this charge forward, this aggression, and being able to use that dash to run away. And so now it is just another reset here as Dragon's Gravity is forced to regroup.
Control of the objective again. You can see how quickly it tips up. Just a big engage, really, with the Lucio gone. Juno Brig is viable. And this is the job of the Mauga. I wonder if we see some counter swapping coming in. Zarya, I think, might be a good angle. But really early cage from Humble.
Yeah, and with that cage out here, we're trying to see everybody trapped up in it. Humble is going to be taken down here. It seems that the cage has become a death trap for the side of Brigged Up. They are still in this fight, though, with the help of Shadowy, Mykoe, and an Orbital Ray here. They're actually going to be able to clean this up, and potentially that could be the end of point A.
It might be, and we just see the combo, right? This is very popular. Sort of around this time last year, the Mauga Juno Brig comp. You just Ray, you cage, then you Ray, then you Death Blossom, boom. This is almost a carbon copy the Brigged Up comp of the comp that helped North America do really well at the Stockholm Overwatch Grand Finals. Dragon's Gravity, a couple of tools in their disposal now to deal with it. Of course, perks were not in the game then, and they are now. And that hopefully should help the Ram and the Brig here. I think the Ramartra ult from the Teat Meat has to be massive, otherwise.
The teleport in is unfortunately a little too overzealous for Shadowy, who's going to get caught by the Militon, and now it is just going to be the rest of Brigged Up going to be retreating for the time being, allowing Dragon's Gravity to again start with the point cap.
Yeah, really nice in the Sojourn of Dragon's Gravity there, Militon. They just look at the Reaper at the right time, and there's a lot that Brigged Up can look at. There's a lot of Dragon's Gravity that they need to look at in terms of the threats of Brigged Up. Mighty Blade Pull.
Yeah. Oh, and it's okay, just off the map, gone, eliminated. But Dragon's Gravity is going to be able to take the fight cleanly here with a bit of a crossed arms at the end from Teat. We just stay alive. But Dragon's Gravity really bouncing back.
They're really nice. So then they're down the blade as well, right? So the swap has to come in. Mikey going over to the Soj, their time on Genji. The Weeb Stick been firmly put away. Rallied on as well. So always a big win on Flashpoint when you can get up to about 60% before the fight starts and have forced the main resources from the side of your opposition. Brigged Up here. Nice pick from Lax on the Venture. Doing really well on this point.
Doing absolutely incredible here, trying to keep everybody nice and healthy, as well as this forward aggression from Dragon's Gravity sort of keeping everybody zoned out. And it seems as though unless there's a Miracle Touch here that is going to be tying us up one apiece. The Miracle Touch does come through, but Mikey ends up paying the ultimate price for it here. So now, sure, you have the Malga on the point, but not a whole lot this Malga is going to be able to do alone and low on HP. Shadowy now going to be the last figure trying to get to the edge of the map, but not going to be allowed to. And we're tied up one apiece.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of just discoordination on this Malga composition. They're not hitting, they're not going through the speed ring and the Malga slam. They're not looking for these ones before the Reaper goes in, so then the Reaper gets forced out. And also while this is happening, they're not looking, they're so focused on the engage, they're not looking at Lax, just kind of wandering into their back line and doing venture things. And sort of this is the case, right? Like Shadowy was being looked at by Dragon's Gravity, and Lax was totally ignored by Brigged Up, and it's ultimately led into a 1-1 tie on this map so far.
Yeah, and so now another cage fight going to be trapping everybody up here. Both HP bars starting to dwindle, and now it's going to force the orbital ray on both sides of the coin here. Militon going to go a little too far forward here. Trade still going, but it seems as though Dragon's Gravity is starting to come out ahead here. You can fire those miniguns as much as you want, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough, and the edge of the map is all that awaits the Malga here as Dragon's Gravity take the first cap again.
Humble goes for a swim to cool off, getting a bit too overheated and getting burnt to a crisp with the rest of his team by the excellent engage and tectonic shock that Laxnared hit from the side of Dragon's Gravity. Such a good Ven ult, by the way. Just the art of being ignored on ignored on Venture. Difficult and hard, but Lax making it look really easy here. They're getting so much value on this Lax DPS.
Yeah. And now trying to find more and more value here. But it seems as though that Annihilation is going to run dry here, not going to be able to come up with anything else here. Now that it's dwindled, you're going to see Brigged Up have the chance to engage. They pulled the blade, but it seems as though the Genji's in almost a little bit alone here, not able to follow up on to that Juno thanks to those lovely that lovely glide ability. Now it's just going to be about staying alive here. But meanwhile, in the background, while everybody was looking at the Genji, Hamble is just going to go crazy here. Got 4 in the fight. Potentially can make it 5 with the Venture kill. But don't worry, Vincino's there to clean that one up.
Yeah, main tank gameplay there from Shadow. He goes in, gets all the cooldowns out. That sends Yuna away from the fight, because otherwise if they walk back into it, they're going to get cut in half, slice of twain by the Dragon Blade. And by the time that's pulled away, half of them have been punched to death by the Ramartra. So just buying space for the form there. I'm not going to say the most deliberate, but just really nice aggressive play from Shadowy. Opens up the space for the tank.
Yeah, and so now it is going to be another fight already starting here. Brigged up. You're seeing this OC try to do what it can here, but Mikey ultimately going to be taken down. But enough damage, I feel, has been done for Dragon's Gravity to realize that their time in this fight is limited. Still actually trying to fight this with going into the Nemesis form is actually delaying here, so it potentially could mean it's going to be a delay on the final fight.
Yeah, I wonder what the touch situation is like. Remember, no Lucio, so you don't have to go through a speed run. You don't have to go in a straight line. Dragon's Gravity, they are literally 97%. They've got ultimates coming up online, so it'd be really bad for Tempo to lose this one because Kiri Rush and Annihilation is available for Brigged Up as well. It's a really hard situation if you can't even get the touch, and I don't think they are.
Yeah, and so now we're already onto the fight. Nobody able to touch here, which means any and all commitment is going to go by the wayside here. I mean, even if Dragon's Gravity is able to win this fight, they still have to then go to the next objective here. This fight is almost pointless for both sides here. It just depends on where you're going to be able to get to the next objective here. Petite Weed going down now, trying to chase down the staggers before Hamble realizes it's much better to just go to point.
How do you think the lack of touch here is for Dragon's Gravity? Because obviously they're down in ultimates, right? They get a little bit of ult charge, right? Medalas being able to touch the point here, but I don't know if it's beneficial in the long run. Like, now you have to walk into a Kiri Rush and an Annihilation. Do you think they have counterplay going into this fight? Like, I look at the Ray from Yuna, and I'm thinking, like, is it enough?
I mean, that's going to be the question, right? Will this orbital ray be enough? They've been plenty impactful on both sides of the coin here, but you're seeing this Ramaja caught a little bit off guard. It is going to force the rally from Vincino just to try to help keep this Ram nice and healthy in the fight here. We have traded back and forth here, and still this rally is going, trying to keep everybody alive, but unfortunately, there's only so much the Brig can do. Yeah, Dragon's Gravity in the background have capped after expending everything in the kitchen sink, but it seems as though it's going to work for their benefit here. Unless there's still a fight going on. Brigged Up, they just simply never let go. They keep their foot on the gas here, and now potentially this overextension is going to be the punishment for Vincino. Meanwhile, Dragon's Gravity the entire time is just ticking up more and more point percentage.
Yeah, it's nice, some 3-point percentage. You don't force any ultimates, but Brigged Up refused to go away, and Mikey and Shadowy were alive in that whole fight. I thought it was going to be chalked the minute that Hamble goes down. You get the trade with Petite Weed, right? But all this time, as I said, this was one long fight. Dragon's Gravity, they get rewarded for playing the objective first, for going for the cap, and then for the fight, because they just get the cap for free. Brigged Up, don't contest it. Speaking of contest.
Yeah, speaking of the contest coming through here, you're seeing already Brigged Up willing to meet their opposition where they stand here, and Dragon's Gravity going to be sent running for the hills. Hopefully the Vincino can get out, but it seems as though it might just be not Vincino, Narcano rather, might just be a stagger here.
Stagger's big. Again, we talked about it. Brigged Up now only 30% away. That's barely a team fight on this mode. They're a team fight away barely from committing Dragon's Gravity to that lower bracket, from sending them down, from claiming this 3-0 and ultimately winning the series. And Mikey has an overclock, and if there's any indication from these first two maps, Dragon's Gravity should be terrified.
Terrified indeed as the fight has to make its way over to the objective. Dragon's Gravity has to touch, but already missing their venture. Now the Brigitte missing, and they have to stand in the face of the railgun. It's just gone from bad to worse here, and the inevitable conclusion has finally been reached as Brigged Up finish off the map and take the series 3-0.
Really well deserved. In the end there, they're just able to sneak out some fights. Even when Dragon's Grav get that free 50%, they don't panic. They take the objective fight win. They just win with Blade again. This was sort of the case of the whole series, right? Dragon's Grav have to dump multiple ultimates. And in the fights where both teams committed more than an ultimate each, like so at least 2, I actually think Dragon's Gravity played most of these heavy ult dump fights quite well, Medalas. I'm not sure if you agree, but at least that is my main takeaway for them. They played those fights well. But I think where they fall down, so many neutrals, and also just one ult fight. Like, no cooldowns committed. Mikey double dashes ahead of his team because he pulls up the blade and then dashes after the blade. So the Genji is completely lost. I think it might have been, was it Mikey? Yeah, it was Mikey. Pulled the blade on that map, went so deep into the enemy backline, isn't punished, and that allows Hamble to kill 3 with the form. And realistically, if you want to compete against a team like Brigged Up's quality and you want to compete, you shouldn't be letting the Genji pull blade and double dash into your whole team, not kill him, and then fall over to the ram that forms on you after. But ending on a positive, I think their ult dump fights, like two ults versus 2 ults and Dragon's Gravity, I think they were actually quite good.
Yeah, absolutely amazing here. But while we could sing their praises all day long, I'm sure they can do it much better themselves here. So if you let us throw to a quick little break, we'll go ahead, set that all up so we can hear from our winners. And yeah, we'll be right back. All
Oh, welcome
right.
back.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
welcome back indeed here. Got everything all set up like we promised. We actually got two people. We have both Mikey and Fifi's here with us. First things first, how are y'all doing?
I am doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm doing really good, thanks.
Amazing as always here. So, launching right into it to talk about that series, obviously y'all came in as the favorites here. Was there any specific prep you felt like you needed to do in this match, or was it just sort of show up and play the game today?
I lost like every ranked game today, so that was a great warm-up, but that's about it.
Yeah,
Those
I
are the
mean,
good performances, though. Like, real talk. I felt like, do people not feel like if you just go and queue every ranked game and int, you're like, okay, I'm ready. You just play like a demon in officials. Is that just me?
Yeah, you get all the throwing out of the way, and then you have no throws left for the entire series.
Exactly. This guy knows.
Listen, sometimes sometimes you get exactly what you need here. I will say though, me and Jace both talked about it. There were some fights that Dragon's Gravity certainly was punching and doing some interesting stuff here. Was there anything that they did or brought out that you feel caught you guys off guard, or was it just sort of, all expected?
I think we're not used to the Juno Big Mirror at all, but that's about it. That was really weird all of a sudden. Do you have that mirrored?
Yeah. I mean, I think the point they won, it was more like we trolled. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think we trolled really bad.
You can always clean it up, right? Like you go through onto the winners bracket, so you still have that cushion if you need it. I guess just for people that were potentially tuning in late, and for myself as well, you guys had a really successful regular season. How do you think that translates into playoffs, and what do you think you learned from having that successful regular season?
We are way better than we actually thought we were, because early on we were very down in the dumps with our mental specifically.
Yeah.
And we picked it up really hard over the season, and we've only been improving ever since and getting better.
And listen, always improving is always what you want to hear. So amazing to hear from y'all. Before we send you out, if there's any shout outs y'all would like to make, the floor is yours. Do as you please.
Here, Mikey, you first.
I'd like to shout out Hamble, my tank. He's easily the best tank in all of EU Masters. Like, with such a big tier gap between him and everyone else, he's like such a carry. He's such a good help to have on the team. I really appreciate him.
And I would like to shout out my coach personally, Angel. She's helped me a lot through the years, and it's the reason I'm not a gold player right now. Loki.
Hey, listen, those shit. You'd love to hear it. So we'll let y'all celebrate your win, start planning out that next match, and we'll hope to speak to you again.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Alrighty. Well, another match in the books here at CGL. Again, Brigged up against the 3-0 over Dragon's Gravity here. But that's the beautiful thing about playoffs, Jace. They're just starting here, and we have tons and tons of more matches coming up. And it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. We're going to have tons more. We're going to be heading into NA later in the evening as well. And it's always pressure when you do well in the upper bracket, because everyone expects you, So it's expected if you win, and it's a shock if you lose. So it's just a thing as being the overdog, the top dog, because everyone is just waiting to see you fail. And I'm sure a lot of teams will be taking notes from today's game, trying to see the weak spots of Brigged Up if they match up against them later in the playoffs. That's going to be it, though, for me and Medalas. My name is Jace. You can follow me absolutely nowhere because I don't really use social media these days. And that's been Medalas. Thank you to Lowell for prod, and I'll pass it over to my wonderful play-by-play caster to send us out for the evening.
I mean, you really hit all the nails on the head there, so I'm just going to say bye and just awkwardly sit here until Luau ends it. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy, Malin. I'm not crazy, Malin. I've just been in a very bad mood for 40 years. 40 years.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.